Good morning. My name is Gooee O'Brien, and this morning I'm going to try to make a video. This is my very first video, so bear with me. I'm going to use clay today to make a small pot. My work generally has no particular function. I just love making things, so here we go. I'm using flax clay today. This is porcelain flax. Gives it extra strength, the flax in it. So I'm going to cut off a little bit of this. All of the work I do is hand built. I'm not interested in getting perfect shapes. I very specifically don't want perfect shapes. I want something that is amorphic, something that just happens. And so I never really know what it's going to be like. I might have somewhat of a plan in my head, but quite often it doesn't work out like I've envisaged it. Okay, so I'm just rolling out a little base because I want this little pot to have a base. So there we are, the centre there. I'm cutting another little bit of porcelain off. I'm cutting them off about that thickness that you can see there. And I'm just simply flattening these. I have an idea in my head that this is going to come out, so the shape is going to come out. So I just squeeze them until they're flat. Now the clay is very fresh clay, so I'm going to build the edges with the clay. And I'm not worried about scoring and slipping because this clay is absolutely fresh. So I'm putting the edge of the piece I had just flattened against the base and pushing it down securely on the base. And I want it to come to shape into a bowl shape. So I'll actually start with that curvature of the first piece. Push it down quite nicely. I'll secure it better in a minute. So I'll go around the bowl, placing on pieces of the clay, the porcelain clay, squeezing them and shaping them. Actually, it doesn't really matter what shape you have them because you're going to just make contact with the sides anyway in a moment. And then I put the next one on and I overlap a little bit on the first piece of clay, and I push the clay then onto the base, and I secure the two pieces of clay by rubbing my finger against the edge of the clay on one side and ditto on the other side. And again, I'm watching myself that I have the curvature in the pot that I want, so this curved shape, or at least some idea of a curved shape. So I'm putting on the third bit. It'll probably take four bits to start this. Next bit goes on, overlap as usual, curve it around the shape and join the two edges then. And don't worry if you can't join the entirety of the edges, because the next piece of clay on top of these ones will do precisely that for you. Okay, so push it down, make it contact with the first piece of the base piece of clay that you've put on. Okay, so I'm doing this from the confines of my home, as everybody is confined at home at the moment, although it's not any great hardship living as I do overlooking the sea in Dungarvan. So overlap there, get the shape right and push them against. Now if you find that there isn't, that you haven't quite got the space filled, you can always infill a little bit. So a little triangular infill there. I'm just cutting that little infill and I'm placing it in there, and then just push the clay, slide the clay along on top of the previous bit of clay to make contact with it. I forgot to do that one. There we are. Oh yeah, okay. And then on the outside, the same thing, pushing the clay across, sliding it across, possibly in a different direction. That'd be good. And there's a little depression there. Don't worry about that. We'll fill that then on the next round. Okay? So with one of your little tools, pull up the original flat piece that you put down as a base, pull that up so it makes contact with the 4 pieces that you just put on now. So we're sliding that clay up so that it makes contact. And the 2 edges join together. And the same on the inside. Pull the clay across the base from the base of the bits that you've put vertically, and that'll make contact then there between the edges and the base. Now, if you want, leave those marks. I mean, there's nothing wrong with marks on it. And particularly as I'm producing something that's quite, well, it's any shape, it's whatever shape it wants to be. These marks are decorative looking on the inside. So now I'm going around and I'm feeling the thickness of the clay, and I am squeezing out any humps that I find in the clay to give it a roughly the same thickness throughout. Okay, and I'm just checking my shape. That's great. Now you're ready for the second row. So the same pieces for the second row. Flatten them out. Okay, so this time we overlap on the inside. Okay, nice little overlap. And again, push the clay, slide the clay from the base of the new vertical piece over the existing pieces. And continue the contour of the edge, whatever contour you've originally formed. So now in my head I'm thinking, well, I'll probably fit 5 pieces here. And you will notice that actually what I did, I'll just pull it up, was I went over the joint between 2 pieces of clay. So you're filling a joint so that this makes it stronger. Like bricks on a wall, you know, where you have one this way and another in a different direction. I don't think I did actually, now that I'm looking at it. Oh well. And so I'm squeezing this out to be more or less the same thickness, overlap a bit, squeeze it on, make contact, slide the clay across, and then slide it here. Supporting it on the outside at this point. You don't want to push like this without some kind of support on the outside. And then feel the thickness all around. And then on the outside of it, do exactly the same. Squash these together. And then squash the bottom ones, the bottom row, the first row, in other words, up. So that makes contact. And see that the clay is quite soft. I probably won't be able to go much higher than that. But that's probably as high as I want to go on this particular little pot.